Welcome back to News Live at 6. Now, if you didn't know, today is Election Day here in Syracuse and across the country. Polls are open until 9 o'clock tonight, and I know our political reporter Luke Radel will be following all of these races for us. Luke, it's great to see you here on another Tuesday, and it's especially great to see you here on Election Day.
Well, thank you, John. It's great to see you, too. And as I've probably said before, for us political nerds, Election Day is kind of like our Super Bowl. So let's take a look at who our top ticket matchup is going to be tonight. Sources I have spoken to in both parties throughout the year have said that Republican Ryan McMahon is the favored candidate to win in this county executive race. But it's obviously up to the voters now. McMahon has raised nearly 5 times as much money as his Democratic opponent and has been the only candidate able to afford television commercials. This county has had only 4 county executives since the position was created way back in the 1960s. All of them have been Republicans. And the record of success for Mr. McMahon is fairly undisputed. He has touted his handling of the COVID-19 pandemic and the attraction of Micron as key reasons why voters should vote to keep him in office. And popular accomplishments like those are why his Democratic opponent Bill Kinney has offered few substantive policy disagreements with the current county executives. In interviews, including one in this very studio, Kinney has promised instead to offer a different style of leadership for the county going forward. But depending on who wins tonight, it's important to know how they'll lead the county for the next 4 years, especially because the freshmen watching out there tonight, the Syracuse you graduate from may be very different than the Syracuse you started at this fall. The top line issue is the one we've talked about a lot. It's the one that you talked about with Chancellor Haney. Micron's $100 billion investment in the region will really start ramping up over the next 4 years. They say they'll start construction in Clay in 2024 and produce their first microchips by 2026. Now, a project that size will obviously have ripple effects across the job market, with specifically other tech companies like JMA Wireless and TTM Technologies looking to leverage Central New York as a hub for tech manufacturing. On the flip side, that expanded job market will require investments in housing and infrastructure, and one not so glamorous piece of that infrastructure is the county's sewer system. Both candidates want to spend hundreds of millions of dollars on sewers in the next 4 years, which will obviously be a huge undertaking. And lastly, and perhaps the most contentious item of McMahon's agenda, is boosting tourism. Now, guys, that key difference between the two candidates is that McMahon wants to spend $85 million taxpayer dollars to build an aquarium in the Inner Harbor, and Kinney is opposed to that funding. It's an issue that could cost McMahon some votes tonight, but ultimately, if the project comes to fruition, you might see it here in the next 4 years. Guys?